When Capcom ported their super popular arcade fighting game, Street Fighter II: The World Warrior, to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, they had to trim the fat a bit in order to fit as much as possible into a 16 megabit cartridge. That meant fewer frames of animation and missing background details in the stages. And while the endings were simplified as well, the programmers managed to add a few bonus content and unique modifications not present in the arcade version. Let's compare all 8 endings to see what got cut and what was added. In the arcade version of Guile's ending, he asks M. Bison if he remembers him and Charlie in Cambodia. Bison remembers and asks Guile to kill him quickly. Jane, Guile's wife, interrupts and pleads with her husband not to kill Bison because that would make him a murderer, just like Bison. In this scene, we see a close-up of Guile inexplicably shirtless and without his dog tag. Guile wonders why Jane is there because he deserted her. Then he hears his daughter's voice telling him they still love him. Finally, Guile returns home with his family and their dog, Sabu. Jane offers Guile tea, but he seems to zone out. He feels like he has awakened from a long nightmare. In the SNES port, Guile's pose when he grabs Bison is different. Guile does not mention Cambodia. Jane's lines are different. Instead of saying, "Killing Bison won't bring Charlie back, it will simply make you a murderer just like Bison," she says, "Destroying Bison won't bring Charlie back." In the close-up image, Guile is wearing his green tank top and dog tag, as he should. The scene at Guile's house looks completely different, and the line about waking up from a nightmare was dropped. Also, Guile is still wearing his green tank top and dog tag. In the arcade version of Edmond Honda's ending, he slaps the shit out of one of his students while discussing the importance of achieving goals when the body and mind are in perfect harmony. Honda then sits with 4 of his disciples in front of a large bowl of nabe and states that he won't relax just because he won the Street Fighter tournament. In the SNES port, Honda begins discussing harmony with his students while still in Thailand, right in front of Bison's broken body. We then see Edmond striking a wooden pillar instead of one of his students. Afterward, Honda sits down to eat with 2 of his 4 disciples. I'm assuming he ate the other 2. In the arcade version of Dhalsim's ending, the yoga master returns home to his family, riding on the back of an elephant from Thailand to India. This journey takes him 3 years. Finally at home, Data, Dhalsim's son, inquires about a photo of his father at the top spot of a winner's podium, alongside 2 individuals who bear no resemblance to M. Bison or Sagat. But Dhalsim simply explains that it's him in a past life. In the SNES port, instead of sitting on the elephant as one normally would, Dhalsim assumes the yoga pose from his victory stance. Additionally, Dhalsim's house now features a window to release the spicy aroma of Indian curry. In the arcade version of Chun-Li's ending, she visits her father's grave at a cemetery after defeating Bison. Her father's death is avenged, and now she can enjoy the life of a young, single girl. In the SNES port, the scene at the cemetery looks completely different. She's still wearing her fighting outfit and doesn't bring any flowers to her father's grave. In the next scene, instead of wearing a short-sleeved white shirt with a black vest and black jeans, she's now dressed in an orange crop top and short blue jeans. Strangely, the music themes when she's praying and enjoying life are played in reverse order from the arcade version. In the arcade version of Ryu's ending, he leaves Bison and Sagat at the winner's podium because he doesn't care about award ceremonies. Interestingly, the background appears to be the same as the cemetery from Chun-Li's ending, suggesting that it might not be a podium, but a grave. Regardless, Ryu's babyface briefly flashes across the screen. He's already far gone, walking toward the sunset, ready for his next fight on a trail surrounded by trees. In the SNES port, the winner's ceremony takes place in Thailand. Sagat stands up, smiling, displaying good sportsmanship. A woman resembling a Playboy bunny holds the champion's trophy, making it clear that Ryu missed out by ditching the ceremony in pursuit of his next battle. In this version, the trail lacks trees. In the most notable extra scene exclusive to the SNES port of World Warrior, we witness Ryu's training as he performs dragon punches against the raging waters of a waterfall. In the arcade version of Blanka's ending, just as Bison is defeated, a diminutive woman approaches Blanka, calling him Jimmy. She explains that her child was lost in a plane crash over Brazil years ago. She then notices the anklets around Blanka's ankles, the same steel prison shackles she gave to her tiny son for his birthday, as any loving mother would. Blanka embraces his mother and sheds tears of joy. In the SNES port, Samantha, Blanka's mother, is of normal height. When she notices Blanka's anklet, instead of showing a large, detailed image, he raises his foot to her face, as if executing a forward or short kick. Before hugging, they walk toward each other. In the arcade version of Ken's ending, Eliza, his girlfriend, enters the frame, resembling a haunted house apparition. She has been secretly following him for who knows how long. In a close-up shot, Ken looks like an absolute creep. They spontaneously change their clothes and get married on the spot, while Eliza looks at the camera, suggesting that her financial future is secure. In the SNES port, Eliza looks significantly better and even has 2 frames of animation. When she reaches Ken, they both turn around and share a hug. Ken then carries Eliza in his arms, still clad in his karate gi, as they head to the church to get married, with confetti falling from the heavens. In the arcade version of Zangief's ending, a helicopter flies low enough to drop none other than Soviet Union President Mikhail Gorbachev, who then jumps to the ground from a 5-foot height without bending his knees and grabs the Russian bear wrestler's arm. The scene shifts to a detailed close-up of the president's face in front of the Soviet flag. He congratulates Zangief for making their country proud and tells him they must now celebrate in the appropriate Russian fashion. This is not a request. Mr. Gorbachev proceeds to drop it like it's hot and starts doing the traditional Slavic squat dance with Zangief and 3 KGB agents. In the SNES port, Zangief's victory pose is interrupted by a 3-foot-tall Mikhail Gorbachev, who walks into the frame instead of using a chopper. The red cyclone flexes as Gorby congratulates him. Zangief correctly addresses Gorbachev as Mr. Ex-President, as his presidential term had ended by the time of this sport's release. Instead of a close-up of the former leader and the Russian flag, we see Zangief's smiling portrait and the top of Gorby's head bobbing up and down while Slavic folk music plays. The animation and perspective of their dance are entirely new. This time, there are no KGB agents, likely due to government budget cuts. That's it for the endings, but there are a few details worth mentioning during the credits. In the arcade version, if you beat the game but lose a round or use continues, you'll see the 8 playable characters fighting while the credits roll. In the SNES port, you witness a similar event, but the fighters strike a victory pose as their names pop up next to them. You will also notice the credits roll music from the Champion Edition of Street Fighter II, not present in the World Warrior Arcade original. If you finish the arcade version without losing a round, you're treated to a special staff roll where you can see the developers' faces. Unfortunately, this feature was omitted in the SNES release. However, Capcom added a really cool exclusive gift for console players that isn't in the arcade version. After beating the game on the hardest difficulty setting without using continues, you receive a group shot of all 12 characters, some in unique poses and facial expressions, like Dhalsim looking at the camera and Blanka's disturbing smile. If you manage to win every round with a perfect, you'll hear Chun-Li say when you press start.